everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you a really easy and quick tutorial on how to use your Cricut Maker to make a personalised Christmas decoration for somebody that you love. I've had so many requests from customers for these this year, and I just think everybody's trying to make the best of 2020 really, and give their loved ones something really special that shows they've really thought about them. So let's get started. So I'm just starting off with a blank canvas in Design Space, and the first step is just to go over to the text T and type in the name that is going to be going on this ornament. So this one is for Sophie, and I'm just going to move that up to the top of my canvas so I can see it a bit clearer. Okay, so the next step is to join all our letters up together. And so to do that, just ungroup, and that splits all of your letters separately so we can move them all individually around on the canvas. So carefully now, just move each letter so that it joins up, so that it forms a cursive, continuous word with no gaps in between the letters. So now I like to just group it together and zoom in. And then once I've zoomed in, I can see if there's any bits that aren't quite connected properly. So I'll just click off that and then just make any tiny adjustments that I need to make to my letters so that they really are smoothly connected together. And just reselect and then go down to weld at the bottom. Weld just makes your whole word into one, so you don't need to group it or anything. You can't separate it again, it is a permanent thing. So now it's time to just adjust the size that we need this Sophie to cut out at. So just measure the item that you're going to be putting it onto, and you can slide or you can unlock, and you can pull that at any angle to make it bigger or smaller. I'm just going to undo that because that was actually the size that I needed it to be, that it had already stopped on there. So just to make this extra special, I'm going to put the year on the other side of the decoration. So just go back to the T, type in 2020, and then I'm going to ungroup again and just make a couple of adjustments to the spacing between the numbers. So once I'm happy with that, again I will select it and I'll just hit weld straight away. So the 2020 is the perfect size, so I don't need to make any adjustments to that. So just go straight at the top and hit make it, and then we move on to our matte screen. So this screen just shows us the location of our Sophie 2020 on the mat. And I'm just going to leave that on the screen while I grab my vinyl box, and I'm just going to have a look through and see if I've got anything that's going to work for this print. Now the lady has asked me for a rose gold, so I'm going to look through and see if I've got a scrap cut off piece that's going to be big enough to do this project for her. And as you can see, I have got so much in this little box of scrappy bits, so I'm hoping I'm going to find something suitable. And just as a thought, I've struck gold. There's 2 pieces of rose gold, really shiny chrome finish vinyl that I can use for this bauble. Absolutely perfect. So now that I've put all that away, I'm just going to double check my measurements and make sure that these pieces are big enough. I'm sure they are, but I am just going to double check. It's always better to check it twice and cut it once. So everything looks good. I'm not actually going to trim this piece of vinyl down. I'm just going to stick the whole piece on there. I'm using a light grip Cricut mat today. This is quite a new one, so it's still really sticky. I'm just going to put it down using my roller. I don't want to scratch it by using a scraper. So I'm just going to put it down by hand. And then once I'm happy with the positioning on the mat, just give it a really good bray down with my roller rather than my scraper. Okay, so let's just go back to the matte screen on the computer, and then we can see the positioning of our name and our 2020 there, and just making sure that we're happy with where it is. If we want to, we can move that on the map screen, but we've got a really good sized piece of vinyl, so we know we don't need to move it around to make it fit, and it's perfect across the top there with the measurement. So once you're happy, go down to the bottom right and click on next, and then it will come up with your materials screen. So I've got all my presets here that I use really regularly. You can click on browse all materials. You can type into the search box. I was going to look and see if there was a foil vinyl, but it doesn't look as though there is. So I just went back to my main screen and just chose my regular vinyl setting, which is what I would normally choose anyway. As I've said before, I don't tend to change the pressure setting. I'm quite happy with the way it cuts. So then I just go down then to continue. So now's the time to just go to your machine and load your mat, and then click on the flashing C button just on the top there. Your computer screen will switch now to preparing the mat and detecting the tool, and then it will start your cut. As I've said previously on other videos, wait until your screen tells you to unload your mat before doing so. It does sometimes say it's finished before it actually has. Once you've unloaded your mat, you can then come back to this screen and just click on finish, and you're done. Okay, so now I'm just going to unload my mat by pressing the flashing button again. Out it comes, and you can't really see the cut, but it is there. So once we've clicked on finish, it'll just take us back to the canvas and we can see our original design. So now it's time to weed away all of the excess vinyl from our design. But first of all, I'm just going to trim away all the excess off this piece, because as you may recall, I just took the whole piece down and didn't trim it to size before the cut. So I'm just going to grab a craft knife and my metal ruler, and I'm just going to really carefully, without too much pressure, cut away the excess there. I don't want to push down too hard because I don't want to go through my Cricut mat. Once I've made the cut, I'm just going to flip the mat over and peel the mat away from the vinyl. So sometimes weeding for a Christmas bauble can be quite simple. I've chosen quite a curly font here, so it can be a bit more difficult. So just go slow, just take your time, there's no rush, make sure you do it properly. So now I'm happy with my weeding. I'm just going to get my roller and just make sure that it's all nice and flat and still stuck down really well. Once I have done that, I'll just flip my mat over and peel back the mat from the decal. So this is the ornament that I'm using for this particular design. They're just acrylic, they come apart into two pieces, and because of that it makes it so easy to apply your design. So I've got my two decals ready, my Sophie and my 2020, and I've got my ornament as well. So I'm just going to grab one of these alcohol wipes. These are swab wipes for when you have an injection at the nurse or the doctor. You can buy them at the chemist or you can buy them online. I just think they're really good for this sort of thing. I just give everything that I put a decal onto a quick wipe over with one of these. It just gets rid of any bits of dust or any oil that might be on there, and really anything that's going to stop your vinyl from sticking and staying adhered really well. Once I've given them a good wipe over, I can just leave them to dry naturally. So now I'm just going to grab a piece of transfer tape. I have used this piece before. I did a project last night for somebody which I didn't film. So I'm just going to cut a little piece off here and just reuse that. I like to use my transfer tape 3 or 4 times. It's fine. It won't be as sticky obviously as the first time you use it, but sometimes that's better. So I'm just going to apply my transfer tape to both of the decals, and then I'm just going to smooth it down with my scraper. Firstly on the one side and then turn it over and do it on the other side, because this has been used on a wooden crate previously, so it really isn't as sticky as I need it to be, but it will work, it'll be fine. And now I'm ready to just peel back the paper backing from my design. Always try and peel back the paper rather than peeling back the transfer tape. It's much easier. Try and do it at as near to a 90-degree angle as you possibly can. And there we go. So now I'm just going to line up my ornament on the grid of my cutting mat so I can see roughly where the centre is, and then I'm going to pop down my name decal. So I can just line it up really well with the yellow lines on my cutting mat, starting from the centre and smoothing out towards the right hand side, and then do the same going back to the left. You might notice that your transfer tape will wrinkle, and that's okay. We want the transfer tape to wrinkle. We don't want to wrinkle our cut lettering, so just smooth it out as carefully as you can with your fingers. Just push it down really well, make sure that you've got it all stuck, and then very carefully just start to peel back the transfer tape. And once that transfer tape is off, just give it another little smooth down with your fingers. Then I'm just going to repeat the process with my 2020 sticker. So this one is going to be filled with white tissue paper. So I'm just going to get some tissue and just stuff the inside of it. And I'd just like to mess about with the way that I've put the tissue paper in there, just to make sure that it's got a nice even fill and that it looks really nice. And once I'm happy with that, I'll just pop it back together and make sure that it's nice and straight. I'm going to make a bow to go on the top with a matching really nice rose gold satin ribbon. So I've just taken the ornament apart again, just so that I can put the bow on and not worry about the glue seeping through onto the inside. So just got my hot glue gun out, and I'm just going to pop a bit right on the top of there, and then just pop the bow onto the top of there and hold it until that glue is really well set. You just need to be mindful that the glue doesn't go through the little hole that you'll put the loop for hanging in as well. So I've got my bow positioned right where I want it to be, so now I can put the tissue back in and pop the ornament back together so it's all done. So that's how you can create your very own Christmas decorations using your Cricut. It's a really simple beginner's project. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please let me know by subscribing, liking, sharing or commenting below. It all really helps. Thanks a lot. Bye.